Welcome to episode 7 of making a Viking broadsax. Remember from the last episode that I just heat treated the blade? Now it's time to check if there were any problems with heat treating. The most severe would be a crack in the blade, but bending and warping are quite common as well. So let's take a look. In terms of cracking, it looks rock solid. Starting in the middle, unfortunately, the blade developed quite a severe warp both on the back and on the cutting edge. Despair not, I will show you my secret trick of fixing this the easy way. The trick requires a straight, solid bar of steel and a bunch of little C-clamps. The idea is to straighten the whole blade against a completely straight bar and run another round of tempering. This is something I usually do after having already tempered the blade, which I'm not showing in the video here. If my memory serves right, I probably did an initial temper at 400 Fahrenheit or so. My final temper, which I'm showing here, will be at 550 Fahrenheit. Much higher than I would temper knives at, but this seems reasonable for a sword that needs to withstand a bunch of abuse. I usually temper for about an hour and then remove the blade. Because of the heavy steel bar, this requires some heavy gloves. In this case, the gloves were not thick enough, so I'm rushing to my bucket of water. Once I remove the clamps, I should be looking at a blade that is magically completely straight. Unfortunately, although such magic would be great, don't expect perfection. It should look much better though. Let's take a look. You will see a glimpse over my shoulder. This does indeed look much better. However, it's not perfect, and I will try to remove some of the remaining bends over the anvil. Once that is out of the way, it's time for my favorite activity, standing in front of the belt sander for many hours. Since these many hours come with exposure to a lot of grinding dust, I'm wearing my powered respirator, which provides me with clean air, something that everyone in California is wishing for at the moment. My goal in grinding here is to establish a flat surface from the back of the blade to the cutting edge, while also slowly thinning down the edge as well. As I am now working with a hardened blade, I need to watch the overall temperature and cool the blade down occasionally. A bucket of water is strategically placed next to the belt sander. Another aspect of sword making is the overall weight of the blade. I'm measuring it occasionally to see how much more material I want to remove. My overall goal is to produce a sword that weighs less than 1 kilogram, including guard and pommel. As you can see, more steel needs to be removed. Overall, I'm getting close to where I want to be in establishing the correct bevel as well as weight. Once I'm done with that, it's time to go to much finer belts. To get a sense of how much metal dust accumulates, let me show you my occasional cleanup of the floor. After a couple more hours in front of the belt sander, the blade needs to be cooled down again. This is also a good opportunity to check in on its weight one more time. It's getting better, but probably needs a little bit more work. Let me show you a close-up to see where more grinding is needed. In particular, you can still see some spots on the back that need to be removed. Another technique I like to use is a push stick, which forces the blade against the grinder much more aggressively. It It also makes for a more even grind. Let's take a look at the balance of the sword, assuming that some hilt hardware has been attached, as simulated by a couple of C-clamps you are barely able to see in the video. One measurement is the point of balance. In my case, it's going to be a few inches in front of the guard. Balancing can be tricky. Alright, this is all I had time for in this video. Another project I'm really excited about is the visualization of pattern welding. In fact, I like the pictures I produced so much that I made myself a few t-shirts. If you would like one as well, please check the links in the description. As usual, I would also like to say thank you to everyone on Patreon. Since I'm producing videos only as a hobby, it takes me a while to put a new one up. I hope you like this one and give it a thumbs up. See you next time.